Yes. Hello and welcome to our live meditation class for September 4th or 5th. Full moon tomorrow.
Yeah.
Full moon tomorrow. So this is our first class of September. So let's begin by rounding and centering. Laura, have you joined us for a class before?
I was on one live,
Okay.
also without video, and then the rest were recordings.
Okay, great. So you have some experience with what's going to happen.
Yeah.
All right, then. So just start by closing your eyes to turn inward and then feeling your connection with the earth underneath you. Through your feet and through your seat. And feel a sense of opening to that connection and the qualities of the earth, and noticing what that feels like for you today or this evening. So maybe it feels like a sense of spaciousness, openness, vastness. Perhaps it feels still and steady, quiet. Earthy, grounding, stable. Just open to what your experience of the earth is for you right now, and allow it to begin to permeate your body and your being. And then feel the base of your spine lengthen up through your whole spine, the back of your head. Feel the length through the back of your neck. Just a slight tuck in your chin. Your ears draw back over your shoulders. There's space between your teeth. Your tongue floats in your mouth. Your elbows just dangle right underneath your shoulders. And then open to that sense of spaciousness and openness in your body. Just sensing into and feeling into what's present in your body, your internal sensations in your body. So there's no right or wrong or better best here. We're not trying to get rid of anything. We're just opening to what is alive for you. And then letting your attention drop into your lower belly. without trying to manipulate or control. Just let the space of your belly soften and open to the sensation of breath coming into your lower belly, about 3 finger widths below your navel, 2 finger widths behind that. There's a space in your lower belly, and you're opening to the experience of breath coming into that space. And just staying connected with the earth and your body, your breath. Just notice how our mantra lands for you today. Remembering I am intrinsically good without exception, and that I have been given this precious opportunity of my unique life to find ways to engage in daily practice in my everyday life. When I open to the vastness, stillness, silence, peace, and stability of the earth, that vastness, stillness, silence, peace, and stability opens into my body and being. Remembering that my heart is open, tender, and responsive, I enter into my relationships. That includes the relationship we have with ourselves as a part of my daily practice in my everyday life. Okay, so let's come back to each other now in our circle. Okay, so I'm just feeling really grateful for our time together here right now, and feeling really sentimental and about the preciousness of our lives and the fleetingness of our lives right now. That really touched me with our mantra today. And that was something that really, I think, shifted for me, and is part of what I want to speak to you about today. It was a big shift for me over the week of the intensive that I did with Neil on that meditation intensive that I did, and I haven't had a chance to speak to all of you since in this setting. And so I think that this talk is reflective of that. And the shift that happened, I just want to really say, was very much as a result of the 3 jewels, which was something we had been focusing on over the summer, which was the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, which is, the teachings and our connection with our true self, but also really our connection with each other, our community. And all those things came together in a very magical way to contribute to a big shift that I had that week, that I spoke about in the vlog that I did for that week, around finding a lot of self-acceptance that week. And this month we're transitioning into true self, really focusing on true self. And what I have really become aware of is that I have and continue to experience so much self-imposed discomfort and distress in my life by trying to limit and control and shut down what I think should be happening in my life and who I think I should be. I mean, I even noticed it this afternoon when we went out to film, and I thought, oh, you know, Rachel, this is Rachel Richards. You guys know her. This is the woman that I'm collaborating with this week. She does the amazing self massage. And I always feel like, you know, she has it so together. She always has her videos to me like way ahead of time. And I always feel like I'm scrambling at the last minute to get my videos to her. And I said to Tim, you know, she must think like we're just like so fly by the seat of our pants and we barely have it together. We're just, you know, totally, I had a better word for it earlier, but you know what I mean? And I was like, you know, it was like, there's this like there's this kind of self-criticism and self-judgment trying to all this imposition about what I should be, right? I should be more together. You know, and one of the big ways that this happens is that, and I noticed it happening this afternoon, and I was like, oh, well, whatever, you know. If she thinks that, then she thinks that. I always get my video to her in the end, and she always gets a video for her channel. So if she thinks I don't have it together and I'm totally chaotic, then I guess that's what she thinks about me. But one of the big ways that this happens is that when I start to experience sensations that I tend to label as anxiety or stress in my body, kind of nervous tension, and these sensations start to come up in my body, the knee-jerk habitual reaction is to start to try to control them, to put a lid on them, to change them, to make them go away, and to shut them down, and definitely make sure that nobody else knows I'm having them, right? For sure, make sure nobody is aware that I experience anxiety. And the reason I do this is that these kind of feeling states like nervousness or feeling like I don't have it all together, or I spoke a lot this morning about, you know, my discomfort around feelings of not feeling good enough, you know, variations on that theme. These, you know, do not align with this kind of egoic image of myself that I have of being all together, being calm, being content, you know, and I ultimately believe that I shouldn't be feeling this way, you know, and at those, there's kind of these identities that I have, whether they be as a yoga teacher or a meditation teacher, or, and I really firmly believe this, even if I wasn't identifying as a yoga teacher or meditation teacher, I would be identifying as somebody who practices yoga, practices meditation every day, and therefore would tell myself, as somebody who practices yoga, practices meditation, I should not be feeling this way. I should be stable, I should have it together, and I shouldn't be experiencing these emotions, like this kind of nervous tension, this kind of anxiety. And for God's sakes, after this many years of practicing, I should have my life together, right? And so begins this experience of trying to control the nervous tension, control the anxiety, control the experience, right? Control others' perception of me, right? And try to limit it, try to shut it down. And then, you know, I start to feel more on edge, and I start to control the experience more. But the purpose of meditation, and the purpose of yoga for that matter, is to make room for whatever is arising in our lives. And the way Reggie puts it is that the purpose of meditation is to make room for our own chaos. That this includes anxiety, this includes nervous tension, this includes all the ways we don't have it together, this includes all the ways we don't feel good enough, this includes all the crazy in our lives, this includes all the emotional outbursts of our family members, This includes all the ways our family members don't have it all together, all the fights, all the chaos. You know, we're not trying to control it. We're not trying to put the lid on it. We're not trying to shut it all down or, you know, shut some of it down, right? The truth is that our life is not together. And the thing that you're not going to hear is that it's actually impossible to stabilize your life. You know, you're going to hear all these promises in the marketplace that, okay, do this meditation and do that thing, and then you're going to walk into the promised land. But it's really actually impossible. It's impossible. It's not going to happen. You're never going to get your life together. It's just, you know, nobody has their life together. It's not you. It's like nobody has their life together. And the moment you stop trying to get your life together, you're going to have a little bit of wiggle room to open to what's actually happening in your life. And because of all the ways we try to limit and control our lives, this is why we meditate. Our meditation practice makes room for everything that comes up in our lives. You know, it helps us to lessen the death grip that we put on things. You know, the habit that we have of trying to control things in our lives. Because it doesn't work. You know, these things just it's like trying to hold a beach ball under the water. Our experience of our lives, our experience of ourselves, they're not settled and they're not certain. You know, sometimes there are going to be times in our lives where our sense of unsettledness are more subtle. Like sometimes we're going to be riding this roller coaster, the big roller coaster. Sometimes we're going to be riding like the little kiddie roller coaster, right? And life's going to be fun. And sometimes it's going to be the screamer, right? Where we're going around upside down. But I don't know what part you're on right now. But we're not trying to control the sense of being out of control. We're not trying to resolve anything. And we're not trying to make our experience more acceptable to our sense of self, right? Like this afternoon when we're filming this video for self-forgiveness, of course there's only 5% battery left, right? Of course, you know, we have to just kind of laugh and roll with the punches. We're not striving to reach a state that's more comfortable or more in line with where we think we should be. This isn't the purpose of meditations. In our lives, we're going to just be open to whatever's arising. And then we engage with whatever's arising, whether it's that sense of nervous tension, that sense of anxiety, then we engage with that discomfort. We open to the shitstorm that's going on in our families because hell yeah, there's one going on over here and then there's one going on over here. That's just, you know, that's just what being in relationship is about. It's not, there's going to be times when things kind of settle and then there's times when things blow up and it stinks. But there's no poo-pourri for the shit storms in your family. It's just, you know, you're just going to have to meet it head on. You can't just like, it's not like you can't sanitize your life. It doesn't work that way. You have to meet the storm in your life without trying to control it or resolve it or fix it, right? Oh my God, I cannot tell you how many times I stand on the sidelines watching Tim and Trinity go like this and trying to control it or resolve it, or stand there and watch them go like this and then them come at me like this because I'm not trying to control it or resolve it. Right? Like you can't win. This is all part of it. It's just life, right? It's just relationships. Things blow up, it's like weather. Sometimes it's a beautiful sunny day, sometimes it's a thunderstorm. It's not personal. It's all part of who we are. And this kind of making room for what's actually happening in our lives, it's the ultimate gift in self-love and self-acceptance. It really is. What over the course of that week, and I know you've all experienced those moments in your lives. There was a moment when I was like, God damn, I'm so anxious. Like, I'm so freaking anxious. And then I was like, and the knee-jerk reaction is to like do something about it, right? Employ some kind of breath practice, control it, resolve it in some way. And then I was like, okay, I'm anxious, just be with it. And, there was just opening to it and being with it. It was just like such a sense of relief, such a sense of compassion and acceptance open to that. When I truly opened to what I was experiencing without needing to fix it or resolve it. Letting go of the agenda of fixing it, letting go of the project of being this perfectly resolved person, letting go of that self-improvement project, letting go of my fixed idea of who I have to be, a person without anxiety. Okay, so I'm going to open to this kind of scary, unknown place of being a person that's experiencing anxiety in this moment. What's that going to be like? Well, maybe a little scary for a bit, but, I lived. Because what we're experiencing, our true self, is constantly shifting and changing in every moment. And if we let go of the control, all the ways we limit our experience, all the ways we shut down, we could open into the mystery of that. And we could let go of all the ideas we have about who we think we should be. I'm a yogi, I'm a meditator. Here's a good one. I'm calm. I have it all together. I'm a mom. I'm a grandma. Here's another one that I get hung up on all the time. I get along with people. That one causes me so much suffering, right? Because what happens when I'm not getting along with people? I'm in big trouble. I'm not always getting along with people. And this one gets me all the time too. I'm easygoing. I'm flexible. Ooh. What happens when I'm not flexible? Like when we let go of all these mental constructs that we impose on ourselves that cause us so much suffering, then we can actually open to what's really happening in our internal experience, what's actually really happening in our bodies. And the purpose of this somatic meditation that we do is to make room. That's why we focus on space so much, right? Space in the earth, space in your belly, space in your body. Make room for that full range of your experience of your life. And to really let go of that habitual response, that knee-jerk reaction to control things, to shut things down, to make the experience more acceptable to our sense of self. And when we do this, we will experience the wholeness of everything that we are, which is so, so, so much bigger than that controlled, limited, shut down sense of self that isn't allowed to experience life in any real way. When we let go of this kind of specific idea of who we think we should be, this like, okay, I'm Melissa and I teach yoga and I'm got it all together and I'm calm and I get along with people. This version of me is so small, is so limited, it's so measly, it's so pitiful, it's so pent up. And when I can cast that aside, there's something so much bigger, so much more open, so much more whole to the experience. It's available to me, to everybody else. Because then I can see all of what I am, not what I think I should be, not controlling my experience, not limiting things, not thinking that things have to be a certain way. You know, making room for things, it's really the only way. So that was really, that's been really what's been on my mind and in my body and in my experience over the last few weeks. And it's really created a lot of space for me. And it's not been going perfectly because, you know, stuff comes up and life happens, and sometimes, and I get caught up, for sometimes a little bit of time and sometimes for a long time, and I start again. So that's okay too. So I hand it over to you guys so you can introduce yourselves, where you're connecting from, if you have any comments or questions, and then after that, we will go into meditation.
I'm Michelle from Tea Gardens in Australia. It was a great talk. Yeah, we just put ourselves in these tiny boxes, little prisons where it's all constricted. Why?
Well, there are a lot of reasons why.
Well, yeah. I was thinking a lot about cultural conditioning.
Yeah.
When you think about messages from the marketplace, it's like, yeah, that's huge.
It's huge. It's huge. You know, I haven't had a chance to listen to the talk from last week, but I know there was from the morning talk. But I know there was a lot of discussion about discomfort around having adult children living at home.
Mm.
And again, I haven't listened to their talk. But, you know, there's a huge amount of cultural conditioning around what should happen at what stage of life, whether it be that condition or, you know, where I should be in my life at 44 and what my child should be doing at 15, you know, and what my husband should be doing at almost 50. You know, there's all these beliefs around who we should be at what age and how families should behave. And, you know, it doesn't work out.
You know, I see people trying to live like that, you know, and it's just the stress, and it's not living. It's just ticking boxes.
Ticking boxes, yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
I'm Maria from Harrison, New Jersey. As you're speaking, chaos is going on in my house. The dogs start barking, the birds start screaming. Yeah, it's true. Like we limit ourselves so much when we just think of ourselves in one way. I'm trying to be more open and not so closed-minded, but every day is a struggle.
I know.
It's like you wake up and things are coming at you, and it's like, oh, wait, no, I'm supposed to be, no, but you can't because you're reacting to everybody. But it's a struggle every day, right? Every day.
That's it. And that's why we have our practice.
Yeah. I mean, I came into meditation thinking, having a set, thing that I thought was going to happen. It hasn't happened yet. So, I mean,
know.
and it's great to be open and to open up to your life and to see what's going on and not to really like close yourself off. I mean, I'm trying every day, and it's an everyday process, but it's funny how much we go back to the same patterns over and over, no matter, how much we meditate or do yoga or whatever. We're so conditioned to these things that it's hard to break free.
I know it. And there's always some part of us that thinks that there's going to be resolution, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know that Neil's most recent blog post, I don't know if any of you went and looked after that blog, but it was all about, he just wrote about how it was a really cool blog post where he wrote about looking at his bookshelf and looking at certain book titles and thinking, but you were going to give me the solution. But you were going to be the final answer. But that was going to be the resolution. And how none of them were. And then basically the final, or the thesis, or the main point of the article was that, just the same as this talk, right? Is that there is no resolution. But it's so ingrained in our culture that there is one, right?
Right. Everybody's always giving you that, oh, if you do this, this is going to happen. Right. Or if you do that, this is going to happen. And it's not true. None of it is true. And I keep on telling people, you can't believe everything you see or hear because it's not true. You can't be, but it's, they market this as the new product, the new, go-to.
And there you really got it, right? Because it's very much a part of our commercial culture, right? And the commercial culture is so much a part of our psyche, right? Mm-hmm. Do this, you get that. And unfortunately, to a certain extent, in order to participate in the commercial culture, you have to engage in that dialogue, right, to be found, right? So all the time, it's a bit of a talking out of the two sides of our mouth, right? Because all the time we're delivering that message as well, right? But
the struggle.
So if you stood up there and said, there is no solution, everybody else would go to somebody else's channel.
Come to yoga and kind of relax for a little bit, and then it's all going to go pear-shaped again. But,
Yeah, come here. It all goes to shit anyway.
Yeah.
Everybody be like, yeah, forget that.
Click away. Yeah, I think it helps to really realize that no one has their shit together.
No, not at all.
That's just nonsense. And someone who says they do, I think they should. Well, you should be a little bit suspicious of that.
Yeah. Have you heard Reggie say that? Reggie is like the other people.
I think I have heard him say that.
Yeah,
like,
he's
yes.
He never mixes words. Yeah.
No. Mm-mm.
Allison or Laura, you want to check in before we start meditation?
Yes, I'm Laura. I am from Telford, Pennsylvania. So I'm very close to Maria, I believe. I have 4 children and I've been married 25 years. And I keep striving for the perfect relationships and the perfect family, and it is impossible.
Yeah.
So, there's a blow up today with my daughter, just similar to what you were saying, Melissa, with your daughter and your husband. There's always a feud or two going on, and just sit and watch it sometimes.
Yeah.
just hopefully it settles down and we can talk about it later, whatever, but it's never perfect.
No. And, you know, I grew up in a family of 4 girls, you know, and it's like you add more people, you add more problems, right? It's just like that's like having one daughter. I know it just kind of like the whole noise level of it all kind of goes down. There's less. Like I remember when I had one, I was like, oh, I'm not adding more to this because, you know, automatically you add 2, then they can fight. You add 1, then 3 can fight. You add 4 can fight. Like I grew up with that. I remember that. That was like a conscious decision, right? So that kind of goes, but you know, like that's just like you're just talking numbers now, right? And percentages. Like it's just gonna happen. And it's not personal. It's nothing you've done or haven't done right or wrong. It's just families and relationships and how things go.
I'm Allison from Hamilton, Ontario, and I pretty much am thinking everything that everybody else is saying. You know, like nothing's perfect, and every time I think I have it all together, then I freak out or lose it. You know, and then I tell myself, well, that's okay. Because I'm supposed to feel it, right? So that's okay. So, yeah, it's a daily struggle.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, you know, part of the human experience.
Mm-hmm. I kind of like what you said about, even though I've probably read it a lot and people have commented online, how we say, how we describe ourselves as being flexible or whatever label we use. And then when we're not, so now I'm thinking really, okay, well, really, what am I? You know what I mean? Because
so what am I? That's the question.
Yeah.
That's a good question. That's a good space to be in.
Yeah.
That not knowing space. Yeah. Because when you're in that not knowing space, you have to be in the question mark, which allows you to open to your somatic experience, the felt sense of your body, the felt sense of your emotions, right? Then you go into that space of open, tender, and responsive. Open to what's actually happening, open to the felt sensation. Tender means intuitively knows what needs to happen, and responsive responds without judgment or reservation. Right, so it doesn't mean, so let's take Laura's example of the kids having their blow up. So Laura's opening to what's happening, And I don't know how old Laura's kids are, but they're blowing up. And I'll reflect back on, how I remember my sister that was closest in age to me, how we used to fight in our teen years over clothes. Like my sister Becky used to borrow my clothes and I didn't feel she left them in the condition that I left them in. And then it would be like screaming all out, like I would lose it on her, all out screaming, like, just imagine the most Kali coming out to play. Like that was what would happen. So if I'm Laura, I'm open to the situation, seeing what's happening. Tender doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to sit there and allow little Melissa to take a strip out of Becky, because probably in reality, the clothes were not damaged beyond repair, right? Nothing a little wash and a iron or whatever wouldn't have sorted out. So open, tender knows intuitively what it needs to do. Okay, probably a firm word or two. Okay, Melissa, that's enough. Responds intuitively, response. So it doesn't mean that we're just become these doormats. Doesn't mean that at all. It means we're open to what's happening in front of us. And sometimes that does mean waiting. Sometimes that means watching that shitstorm unfold while it unfolds and walking away and going, oh my God. and deciding what's going to happen later. But it doesn't preclude us from acting. We know, right? Sometimes, this is a more, you're walking in a dodgy part of the neighborhood, right? You don't feel safe. You don't sit there and go, I don't feel safe, right? You use your 2 feet and you walk in the other direction, right? You feel that sense of what's happening in your body and you respond. Right? You're in relationship, you don't feel safe. You don't need to stick around. Right? So that's the open, tender, responsive. It's like, so when we put those labels on ourselves, like I'm flexible, I get along with everybody, see how they limit our experience? Mm-hmm. Instead of opening us to what's really happening, then we can respond to what's really happening in the moment, not what's happened 10 years ago, 10 minutes ago, but what's really happening right now, how we're feeling in our body right now, how we know we need to respond in the moment, right? That's what open, tender, and responsive means. And when we say our lives aren't settled or aren't stable, what we're doing in our meditation practice is we're opening to create a sense of stability so that we can have this spaciousness, so that when the chaos is flying, when the shit's hitting the fan, that we can have that sense of spaciousness to be open to it. So that we can be open to the experience, so that we do have the wherewithal to respond, right? So that we're not going like this and running for cover. Unless running for cover is might be the most appropriate response, right? But if we're always turtling, that can't be right. So I think it's, there is stability being created, but it doesn't mean that everything around you, right? That's the mountain example, right? The mountain is stable, but doesn't mean that there's always peace on the mountain.
Right.
Yeah. Have the stability, but not control.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you're never going to have control of your life, your relationships, and even just the kind of internal landscape. You're a living organism. Things are going to happen. You're not in control of your health as much as you try to be. Physical, emotional, mental. It's going to go up and down. Yeah. Okay, shall we meditate? Yes. Okay, so go ahead and lie down on your backs with your knees bent and your feet flat on the floor. So as you lie down on your backs with your knees bent and your feet flat on the floor, feel the support of the earth underneath you. And allow yourself to rest into that support fully, feeling your 2 feet, 2 sides of your buttocks, your mid-back, your 2 elbows, your shoulder blades, and your head on the earth. Allowing your low back to be relaxed, your inner thighs relaxed, your neck relaxed. And just take a few breaths into your whole body. Each time you're breathing out, allowing the tension to just begin to dissolve and release and let go into the earth. And then open your awareness into your feet and the sensations in your feet. Feeling your feet from the inside, the soles of your feet, your toes, the necks of your toes, the balls of your feet, your heels, your ankles. Noticing what sensations are present, what is coming forward in your felt sense. Notice how the sensations begin to shift and change, how they're fluid. And that tension begins to release and unravel, dissolve and let go through the soles of your feet and into the earth. And then open your awareness into your lower legs, from your knees down through your ankles. your ankle bones, your shins, your calves. Behind your knees, your Achilles tendon, noticing what sensations are present. Allowing tension, any gripping and holding, even numbness, opening to numbness, allowing that to come forward. Then notice how the sensations shift and change, release, dissolve, melt, and let go down through your ankles, through the soles of your feet, and into the earth. And then feel your buttocks where it's resting on the ground. Notice any gripping or holding. Allow your buttocks to soften. And if softening isn't happening, just feel into the tension and the gripping more. So we're opening our awareness to what is happening in your buttocks, in your pelvis, the sides of your hips, feeling for tension, feeling for pain. Feeling the bones of your pelvis, your pubic bone and your tailbone, the pelvic bowl. Allowing the sensations to present themselves to you. And then feeling how it's fluid and ever changing. And how tension releases, dissolves, and lets go down through your buttocks and into the earth. And then opening to the sensations in your upper legs, from your knees down through your hip bones, your quadriceps, your hamstrings, your leg bones. Feeling the density of this part of your body, perhaps the numbness, not being able to feel sensation, giving yourself time to open to what sensation is there. Feeling your inner thighs and your outer thighs. Noticing tension, gripping, holding, and notice how it begins to soften, becomes fluid. And tension begins to slide down through your upper leg, through your hip bones, through your pelvis, and down through your buttocks and into the earth. So feeling your whole lower body softening, melting, releasing, dissolving, letting go. And then connecting with sensation, and particularly your connection to the ground in your mid-back, your backs of your ribs. Feeling that connection with the earth, and then opening to sensation in your torso. Feeling down into your belly, the organs in your belly, up into your side body and your chest. Feeling your body from the inside. And feeling the tension, maybe tension in your low back, in your organs, in your belly, in your intercostal muscles, in your lower lungs. Just opening to tension and gripping, holding, allowing it to come forward. And the more you make space for the tension, for the discomfort, notice how in that space it begins to shift and change, release, dissolve, let go. But it's only in making space for it and allowing it to be present. And then it's fluid, it's changing. And sometimes it releases and lets go into the earth. Sometimes that releases a little, sometimes it's hardly perceptible. And trust the wisdom of your body to let go in its own perfect timing and perfect way. And then feel the connection between the earth and your shoulder blades. And feel into the bones of your shoulder blades. Bones hold tension as much as muscles and fascia. And let that tension release and let go. And then feeling up through the layers of tension, up into the collarbones, into the shoulder joints. Let the tension in the shoulder joints come forward. And let that tension travel down through your upper arms, through your elbows, and into the earth. And then feel tension in your hands, your fingers, your wrists, and your forearms. Let that tension release down through your forearms, in through your elbows, and into the earth. And finally, coming into your head, open into the sensations of your head, open to all the tension in your head. The head is a space where we most carry the identity that we want the world to see us. You know, all the ways that we want the world to see us. This gets carried in our face, so feel the tension in your face, your eyes, your eyebrows, your forehead, your temples, your jaw. You know, how you want the world to see you, the way you present yourself to the world, your cheekbones, your brain, all the way you want the world to think about you. All the ways you try to control that with your thinking mind. Feeling tension at the front of your brain, the middle of your brain, the back of your brain, the bottom of your brain stem, your occipital ridge. Just opening to all this incredible amount of tension you carry around on your neck. Allowing all that tension to come forward, feeling it in all the follicles of your hair, your scalp. And then let that tension release, dissolve, and let go down through the back of your head and into the earth. And then breathing through all the pores of your whole body and opening to pockets of tension, remaining tension. There will always be more tension. Feeling for the tension, allowing the tension to release, dissolve, and let go. So you're breathing into your body, opening to the tension, and then letting that tension go down through the back of your body, maybe through your feet, through your buttocks, through your elbows, through your mid-back, through your shoulder blades, through your head. And then let your awareness drop down to your lower belly. Letting your lower belly be completely relaxed, free, easy, and open. And open into that space in your lower belly. You're focusing on the point midway between your perineum and your navel. It will be about 3 inches below your navel, maybe 4. And it's right in the middle of your body. And you're opening to a space that's about the size of a chicken egg or a goose egg. Just breathing very naturally, not so, just in the same way that we try to control our lives, we try to control our breath. So just let your breath be natural, easy, and free. And just notice what this space feels like when you notice your breath in this space. So we're noticing our breath coming right into the center of this space. And we're letting go of, the sensation of breathing in through our nostrils or down through our airways, or even thinking of breathing from the outside of all. We're just noticing this space in our lower belly and feeling breath coming into that space. And as you attend to that space, you'll start to get a sense of that space opening up in your lower belly. So your breath is very free, very easy, very relaxed. The breath is coming into the space in the lower belly. And you'll start to notice that your body is completely relaxed around that space. So your lower belly is relaxing, your sacrum is relaxing, your hips are relaxing, your upper legs are relaxing, your upper body is relaxing. And your breathing is just happening in a very gentle, a very peaceful way. And your whole body is relaxing around that space in your lower belly. Your breath is coming into the space, and the space is continually opening up. And each time the breath comes in, you're noticing that you're becoming more and more present in your lower belly. You're becoming more and more focused. Your attention is able to come more and more into the center of your lower belly. And you're able to be more present to the sensations. It's as though you're able to let go of the outside more and more. So the more you're present in the lower belly, the more the outside releases, the more you're resting in that space of the lower belly. And with each breath in, the space is opening a little bit more. And your breath is moving away any kind of obstacles, any thoughts that are coming up. The space is opening it up and clearing it out. It's just dissolving to the outsides. So the space itself is becoming more and more empty and more pure, more and more peaceful, more and more dark as it opens out, as it dissolves any kind of obstacles, any kind of thoughts, any kind of debris. You know, whatever's coming up, it's just being dissolved out to the boundaries of this open space. And as you continue breathing, you just keep following your breath to the very center of the space, and everything falls into the space. Your sense of self, your entire consciousness, your awareness, everything drops into the center of this space, into the lower belly. Everything lets go into the lower belly. So you're following your breath into the space, you're letting it dissolve and open into the peaceful fluidity the darkness, the space. And it may feel soft, it may feel open, it may feel spacious, maybe tender, maybe fluid, maybe it feels clear, maybe it feels empty. And when the thoughts come up, you just let them fall right into that space. When your mind wanders, just let the wandering fall into the space. So you just keep letting go into that space. So you keep resting into that space in the lower belly. So that the rest of your body, the rest of your thoughts, everything just kind of falls away. And you're completely in this open, dark, open, warm space. You're completely in your lower belly. Everything dissolves into this space. All your thinking, all your feeling, all your physical sensations, all your distractions, it all dissolves into this space. So that anything that feels like a problem, anything that feels like it's wrong, actually fuels this practice. And it actually enhances you dropping into this space. So you're going to just take a moment now and notice how you feel in your body, your mind. Letting go of the technique, just notice what's alive for you in your internal felt sense of your being. And then very slowly start to gather yourself up, roll to your side, and pause for a moment on your side, cradling your head in your arms. And then slowly making your way up to seated and back to our group. Michelle. I'm sorry. You
I
just
have to get on with my day now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
God.
You just that's so wrong to laugh at you like that. You just look like, you look like a child that just got up from a nap.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Wow.
It reminds me, yesterday, I was saying this to the morning group too, it reminds me yesterday when it was the afternoon, I lay down to do meditation, and I don't know how long I was there for because I didn't set a timer. And Tim was sitting behind me watching a soccer game with headphones on, or else I wouldn't have been able to do the meditation. But I was down there for a long while. And then I sat up, and I think I looked exactly like Michelle. And Tim said, "Were you actually meditating, or were you napping?" No, I was awake the whole time.
That's kind of funny. My husband said the same thing to me yesterday. I was laying down in meditation, and I kind of heard him come in and walk back out, and he goes, you have to teach me how to meditate because you look so peaceful and like sleeping. And I'm like, no.
I know.
I wasn't sleeping.
No, there's a lot happening.
I'm like, you don't understand. It's not just like laying there. It's you're going inward. And he's like, well, you have to teach me because that looks so peaceful.
Well, he could come to class.
That's what I told him.
Or you could do the recordings with you, or you could teach him. He just gave you an invitation, Maria.
I know he did.
Anytime.
He doesn't know what he's in for, though.
Well, no, I don't think any of us did when we started.
No.
Questions, comments about this or any part of practice?
Well, I'm surprised I'm actually so so I've got now in mode.
Non-verbal?
When I lay down, immediately my inner critic just went nuts, like completely feral, being a real bitch. And I just could not relax. So I'm going, okay, just stay on. It wasn't until I got to the shoulder blades. Yeah, and then it transformed, and then that whole yin breathing thing, I just really went deep, and it was just like, yeah, this.
Yeah. There's really something to be said for staying for the agreed upon amount of time, because it can be so easy to depart.
Mm-hmm.
And we have such a strong impulse to depart, and a big part of the practice is to stay, because as many of you have experienced, who've meditated enough times, when you stay, it does shift. But we are so practiced at following that impulse, right? And in life, we follow the impulse all the time, where the impulse is to check social media, send out a text, to eat something, to buy something, whatever it is. Normally we satisfy the impulse, and here we're doing something different. And by not scratching the itch, we're opening to something, a much bigger possibility, right? Instead of, responding to the impulse is another way that we shut down that much bigger sense of self that's possible. But it's really hard because that muscle of responding to impulse is much stronger than that muscle of staying
Mhm. Yeah.
Yep.
It's easier to go with the impulse.
It's way easier.
Staying with it can be really, really intense and full on, and actually it can be painful, like physically.
Very, very, very difficult. Very difficult.
So, yeah, there have been times where it's just been not, borderline excruciating, and I thought, is it time to pull the pin, or will I just stay with it? And I've stayed with it, and it's changed. So it's hard. It's
But because we practice following impulse so much in our life, it's really useful to not do it here. When we say, okay, here I'm gonna, outside of going into some kind of trauma, or if that's happening for you, obviously, or some kind of terrible pain, or right, obviously don't. But we're talking about even something as simple as scratching an itch, right? You can just notice or needing to move. For the most part, you don't need to. So, Ivy didn't get the message about the time change. Hi, Ivy.
Hi.
We're having class 90 minutes earlier now in the evenings.
Okay, didn't realize that. I just
No.
saw my, yeah,
So nice to see you tonight.
thank you.
Look how relaxed everybody looks. Any other comments or parting thoughts before we say goodbye for today?
Yeah.
I think the earlier time will be nice for the people on the East Coast. It maybe might not work for you though. I mean, I don't know. You might have events in the evening too.
Yeah, kids usually go to bed and then I can come.
And then
so.
you can come. So not going to work out for you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you, everybody. I see some of you have already found the new classes on the forum too.
Yeah.
So enjoy those. You guys are speedy. And I will see you on the forum this week. And then at the new time, which is 4 p.m. Pacific, that's 7 Eastern for those of you on the East Coast. And yeah, I'll see you through the week on the forum. Okay.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.